Hi everyone, welcome to episode 81 of the XS Noize Podcast. I'm Mark Millar. Thanks for listening. In this episode, I talk to founder of the Sex Pistols, Public Image Limited and cultural icon John Lydon, also known as Johnny Rotten. If you missed the previous episode, I spoke to Belfast-born singer-songwriter Gareth Dunlop about his fantastic new album, Animal.
I have these moments. You know, you're driving and you could be driving in the car, or you could be doing something like making a cup of coffee, and you have these weird flashbacks of stupid stuff that you've done, or words you can't take back. You know, things that you can't undo, and you get that. And it's there for a second, and then okay, you're back to reality. I have those. I'm plagued by those all the time.
So check it out, and if you like the podcast, please subscribe and share it with your friends. If you want up-to-date music news, album reviews and interviews, then check out our main website at xsnoize.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Search for the tag at XS Noize Music. Here's XS Noize writer Daniel Lynch with a taste of what's been on the website this week.
In the reviews section, Fontaines DC return with their third album in as many years. Alex Hoggard gives Skinty Fia 8 out of 10, saying the band has established a distinctive sound across their output so far, but on this latest release also show a willingness to explore and push boundaries. Sean Crossy has been listening to the 11th studio album from Spiritualized. Recorded in 11 different studios over the past few years and featuring over 30 musicians, Everything Was Beautiful gets a 9 out of 10 from Sean, who says it's some of Jay Spaceman's best work since Let It Come Down. Editors return with their first new music since 2019. Heart Attack has a pulsating electronic intensity and 80s inspired synths. With visual artist Felix Geen, they've used AI technology to create a vast, darkly psychedelic video. You can watch it in full now at xsnoize.com.
He's a legend and an icon. John Lydon changed the face of music and sparked a cultural revolution. The frontman and lyricist of the Sex Pistols and Public Image Limited caused a political earthquake and transformed music for good. In this interview, John Lydon talks to me about his recent legal battle against the Sex Pistols bandmates, upcoming PIL shows, the Jimmy Savile controversy, caring for his wife Nora, and lots more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the XS Noize Podcast with John Lydon. I am very pleased to introduce former Sex Pistol, founder of Public Image Limited and cultural icon John Lydon, also known as Johnny Rotten. Hi John, welcome to the XS Noize Podcast.
Hello. I'd like to kind of readjust that. I'm actually really the founder of the Sex Pistols. Those chaps did fuck all before they met me and have done fuck all since. I think that's just telling it truthfully.
Yeah, and we'll certainly get into that. You're at home in LA at the moment. How long have you been
I'm
there
not going to hold back on a piece of thievery and lying like that. No. It's, you know, they hid behind the Walt Disney Corporation. It took me to court and seriously have jeopardized my capabilities here of not only running PIL, but of course taking care of my lovely wife. And they did this with a great deal of spite and secrecy. And they spent, from what I can estimate, at least 3 years behind my back planning this. So it wasn't spur of the moment. And I know they're running around telling people they'd give me plenty of time. They did not. They'd already appointed actors, written a script and set the bloody filming before anything ever came my way. And within 4 days of the initial warning was their press release, followed by the threat of a lawsuit. And that's what led us to this. And they did all that within 10 days. They're not nice people. And it's not so much the band, it's the people that manage them. They've always been suckers for corruption. Like, oh, there'll be lots of money in it. What does it matter about the name and reputation and value of it? And this is what we find in the world, you know. They are the rats, and unfortunately, they're sinking the ship.
Steve Jones said recently, he said he thinks you'll secretly love it when you see it.
How dare he try to patronise me? How can I love something that's entirely about me, using all my images, all my face, without ever involving me in one single sentence? How on earth is that going to please me? He's a deceptive and obviously self-deceptive cunt.
And Danny Boyle said as well, he said,
there's another cunt. Boyle on the bum cunt.
He says, I hope he finds out how much we admire John as an artist, as a figure as unique in our culture as Oscar Wilde himself.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. So much so that you couldn't be bothered to speak to me. Danny Boyle was on board for at least a year. In that entire year, he never thought, not once, to pick up the phone and go, hey, John, wouldn't it be great if? And in fact, because of that attitude, it left no room for making this project work. They deliberately ostracized me from the entire process. All right. So they either one regarded me as a negative influence, at which point Danny Boyle's statement there is a pile of nonsense, or two, they just forgot to mention it, and three, certainly, definitely forgot who wrote the fucking songs. You know, sorry about my language, sir, but, you know, that album is full of it. Now, I've seen nothing. They've refused to show me any scripts, anything, or the appointment of the actors playing me. But nothing at all, nothing. But just a little snippet on YouTube. And so far, what I can see is a bunch of middle-class kids talking like they were in a social union bar. It's absolutely absurd. And if you could ever get two words out of Steve Jones, they wouldn't be about politics. It would be three words. Well, actually, no, two. The money. That's it.
If you had been asked at the start, would you like to have been involved?
I might well have. Yeah. Don't you think I should have been considered?
Absolutely.
Thank
you should have been the first person.
Oh. See, they lied in court and said it was all about Steve Jones and his book. Well, all the promotion we've seen from January onwards has all been involving me. It's all me. Even on the internet, they used a picture of Nora and me. Now, how on earth is that about what they lied in court about? So it's the lies, the fibs, and they're trying to brush it over and smooth it out nonsense, that cliched, patronising statements like, well, I think John will like it. Who told him to say that? Sounds like that straight smacks of Danny Boyle talk.
Well, it's not the first time you've been involved in a court case with the Pistols. Back in the day, they stopped you using the name Johnny.
No, they did, and I stood up for them. And I could have walked away with all the rights. But me being me and the kind of person I am, I insisted that everybody get equal here. And the whole operation of the Pistols has always been that if anybody was going to be uncomfortable about something, well, then that would be removed. So all voting would be unanimous. Well, they found a way using, of course, Disney Corporation's money and Sharpie lawyers to eliminate me from the process. So that anything I now do or say in any way, shape or form is going to be outvoted because they all come from the same camp.
In the past, your likeness has been used in films such as Sid and Nancy and 24-Hour Party People. Did they have to ask you for permission then?
I had arguments with some of those things. The Sid and Nancy film definitely had arguments with, but which was the one? The 24-Hour Party People I liked because I knew what's his name from Manchester. I actually went to meet him and had a great day out, and I liked that film. It's fucking great. It's a very unusual approach. Mr. Wilson putting himself down as some kind of cuckold throughout the entire story. It was just really great brave approach.
Yeah, and in that film, it was the scene where the Sex Pistols are in
if
it.
you approach people openly and honestly, they would actually respect you and meet your wishes.
Yeah,
that's always been my way.
in that film, it has the Sex Pistols playing on stage at the Lesser Free Trade Hall in Manchester. Are you proud of the fact that there were supposed to be only 40 people at that gig, and from that band
wait, I'll finish your sentence for you. If there were 40 people there, 39 went on to be in a band.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the bands like Joy Division, obviously New Order, Factory Records
Simply
started,
Red,
the Smiths, Simply Red.
Yeah, all right. And I mean, that's an enormous variety of different acts, isn't it? And so, yes, of course, I'm proud of that. Right? But I've always had a very good, close relationship with Manchester, not just about that gig, but always. You know, the Buzzcocks, Howard Devoto. God, I got full respect for these peoples.
Tony Wilson.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. One of the most unlikable fellas, but at the same time, that's why you like him. A confusionist.
The Sex Pistols' music has endured all these years later and still mean a lot to many people. Young people are still listening to Nevermind the Bollocks. It changed everything. Were you surprised at the impact the album had?
Well, yeah. Of course. I underrated myself, Won't be doing that again. It was a great opportunity, as I said. They spotted me on King's Road in an I Hate Pink Floyd T-shirt, and being my usual outrageous individual self, clothes torn to shreds, held together with safety pins and or whatever I was up to at the time, and thought, well, maybe we should get him as a singer. And that was a very, very good move on their part. Very good move, because I just jumped at it. They couldn't write. They couldn't even think of some song subjects. So I just absolutely fell into that role. It's unfortunate, though, that I think the jealousies were there in them, because I just so quickly moved in and took over and led it so well. That made them very unhappy, particularly Malcolm, the manager at the time, because he was so furious. I don't know what he was expecting, but he couldn't compete with the lyrics I came up with. So behind my back, he was taking singing lessons to try and replace me.
Really?
And it's been like that with that lot ever since. They never give up. It has to be a swindle for them, because indeed that's where they mentally are. They're not capable of earning any accolades. They've not done anything really for that. That's the truth of it, and I have to be truthful about it.
When you wrote those great songs,
so expect nothing but the worst. They're all out now to turn it into a Mickey Mouse production, and that's exactly what it will be.
Yeah, but they're still your songs, and when you wrote those songs, what
I
ever wrote?
Yeah, well, let's get it clear. Of course, I love those songs, right? They have a huge place in my heart and in my own history, as well as anybody who ever listened to them. They affected the music industry, I think, permanently, and so should be treated with respect in that way. If you can ask for Sex Pistols respect, but such a thing is possible, but not by, oddly enough, my own band members. That's upsetting to me. How on earth am I ever going to be happy when I'm going to be deliberately misrepresented by people that could not take the time to meet me until after the event? It's all well and fine for the actors to say, oh, I wanted to talk to him, but how can you dare have the audacity to accuse me of being difficult when you've taken on this role, you've been appointed in this role, for all I know, 2 years before any mention of it is to me. This is like, really think now. And if you want to play the part of Johnny Rotten, then understand how that's got to fucking hurt.
Well, you've also written
You
about
can't avoid it. You can't avoid it. Skullduggery is the order of the day there. All right? They still fucking have it in their heads that they're frigging in the rigging, which is about an intelligent song as that lot could ever put together.
But when you wrote your autobiography, if the tables were turned, would you have consulted them? If they were going to make it in the series?
Of course. You have to. If they're going to be in it. I had actually researched that, but it was going to be about my childhood, and that's where I wanted it to end. I had a trouble, of course, when the Hollywood types really wanted access to the songs, and that's where I draw the line, because I didn't see that as being right, and certainly knew that the other three wouldn't agree to that, and I would never do anything to upset or hurt them in that way. In fact, I never have. I've stuck up for them now for far too long, and so eventually the truth will out.
Obviously, things is very raw at the moment regarding the members of the Pistols, but do you think down the line you could ever try and make amends?
Never. Oh, no, not me. No, three strikes, you're out. This is the third time now with them. Not going to take it no more.
What was the other two occasions?
Well, they're about to bury the whole band, the honesty, the integrity, the empathy for the audience. All of this means nothing. It's now just about product and selling. And they don't give a damn about the truth. As I said, if they did, I would have been consulted at least.
And do you think you'll watch the series when it comes out?
Oh, I'm going to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, because it's absolutely guaranteed to be full of inaccuracies, if not blatant lies. What else could it be? Why would you keep it secret from me unless the content was of a dubious nature? Nobody on this earth is ashamed of being honest if they really believe and mean what they say. Danny Boyle on the bum. It's interesting him as a director, because he's not really handled real people in anything at all. It's all his films are jump about, action-packed and full of drama, but no real character detail. And here he is. He gets this opportunity to dive into something that he says he loves and adores, the entire situation. And he deliberately avoids speaking to the main man what put it all together for him. That's fucking bizarre.
Can we talk about PIL?
Yeah.
PIL. Something
and
fun.
Then there's PIL.
There's PIL, which you've been in a lot longer than the Pistols. PIL embark on a UK and Ireland tour in June. Are you looking forward to getting back out onto the road?
Oh, my God. What do you think? The lockdowns, wife's illnesses, all the pains and trials and tribulations, and my brother's being ill with cancer, the whole world of it has been excruciatingly painful. The lockdowns were particularly bad for Nora because with Alzheimer's, she needs a social climate. She needs to talk to people to keep her fit and alert. And this illegal travels and face masks absolutely, mentally, really drained on her. So that upset me no end. And I don't think the lockdowns did any good. Period, the end. And I think as we progress here and more evidence comes out, we'll find out that it was really for political reasons. And that has always been my problem and my enemy in this world, is these institutions dictating to us what is right or wrong. They know nothing. They are the headless chicken after all. Never mind the bollocks, completely declared it.
You're a full-time carer for Nora, so it must be hard, the thoughts of leaving her behind when you go on tour.
It kills me, absolutely kills me. The worst prospect of all was being dragged into court and having to, their whim notice, wanting an early case and all of that, and the Disney money. I had to fly to England. I had to take the jab, which was against my principles, but I had to turn up in court. And I had to leave Nora alone with people that weren't quite vetted. Right? And that led to all manner of problems for me, me head. One of the carers, luckily my brother came round and he'd put in outdoor cameras and he spotted her leaving. She just left. She left Nora alone. Yeah, alone, totally alone. And never bothered to tell anyone and never returned. So luckily my brother and his wife came round and found her, of course, in a mess, confused and frightened why there was no one there. There's this kind of this is the evils that go on in the world. And situations like that. So, yeah, I'm a bag of nerves about all of that. I'm a bag of nerves about getting back on stage and not being good enough. You know, God, I was worried like that before when I knew I was fully rehearsed and trained and fit for it. But now with all this extra baggage in the head, it's quite a shocking thing to have to put myself through. But I have to perform. That's what Public Image does. It plays gigs to earn the money, to be able to record, and that's how the cycle turns. That's the wheel. The wheels on this bus go round and round, and we like it that way because we're independent of record companies. We are our own label, so we're free from dictate. I think this is where the last two PIL albums are so damn good because we've got that aura of selfish responsibility as opposed to having to beg a record label, to open their purse strings for us. We live or die by our own earnings. Surely that's the best way. I like the tension of it. I certainly do.
Is it the same lineup as the previous two albums?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this is rock solid. Rock solid. Mostly as friends. Right? And I think in any outfit, really, you should get the cracking on the friendship before you go into the musicianship. Really, if you go the other way around, it ain't ever going to work. It just becomes, an exercise in other people's methods. Mm-hmm. As in, you fall into categories and genres, and you must not allow that to happen in your mind and in your life. It's been my constant problem with record labels that the advice they'd be giving would be, can't you just write a hit single? Well, fucking hell. If it's a hit, it's a hit. I'm not involved in the process of being corrupt about it. I write about my real life experiences and how I feel about things. And I can't be pushed or manoeuvred in any other way. It's the same with my painting. I'm doing one at the moment back here.
Is that the one behind you?
Yeah. And I can't be told, because if you're going to represent yourself truly, and I shy away from the word artist, if you're going to represent yourself truly and accurately, you can't be led on a rope. That's not where creativity comes from.
Well, on the tour, PIL will play Dublin and your first ever show in Belfast, which I'm very excited about. Why have you never played Belfast? Is it maybe because of the Troubles or whatever? Yeah.
And a lot of the promoters wouldn't touch us. And then you've got no record company backing, and then you've got all those years, it's stalemate with them, and you can't get anywhere. Mm-hmm. So the PIL at that time, years back, we just upped our bags and moved to New York, rented a van and just drove around the local areas. Mm-hmm. and managed to get ourselves back into something of a recording situation. Then, of course, it fell apart because of egos, I suppose, and just the sheer difficulty of a gaggle of Londoners trying to adjust to a New York lifestyle. We didn't fit in with their music scene and really didn't want to. And so the social life's gone, all the things you know and find charming in life, like Friday night drunkenness, is gone.
Your mother and father were Irish. They were Irish immigrants. So do you look forward to playing in Ireland?
Yeah, but Ireland's not a strange country to me. My whole childhood was every summer to go back to Cork, where my mother's parents had a bit of a farm. That was very 15th century, and it didn't even have a floor. It was just newspapers on dirt. It was a house built by my granddad. It had no running water, so he built a kitchen over a stream. It's that kind of environment. So I was plagued by insects all my childhood, every summer. Which I suppose in a weird way is what led to me doing Megabugs and those great TV series that I did later. It was my fear of insects. And believe me, there was one episode there that I had to go into. It was at the University of Florida. They were doing research on mosquitoes. And they had 6,000 of these very hungry devils in this big netted tent. And I went in and I ran around in my underpants there for an hour. I got totally eaten alive, but I lost the fear of it. 6,000 bites kind of outweighs that one little itchy thing on your tiniest pinky finger. So that was a good education. And get over it, John. There's always worse round the corner.
Is that why you went into the jungle on I'm a Celebrity as well? For your fear of insects?
No, I'm a Celebrity I didn't want to do at all. They kept on at us a couple of years with that. But finally, they agreed that I could dedicate a huge pile of money into charities of my choice. And once that was settled, in I went, warts and all. I think that's where most people began to understand that I wasn't the caricature that the media would want to make out of me. I'm the kind of bloke who just gets on with it. It's like, oh, this is grim. Happy times. I don't mind bloody boiling water. I don't mind building fires. I don't mind taking care of myself and or other people. It's just that it was an unpleasant environment. For me, quickly turned into great fun. That's my nature, There's lovely incidences there in the camp at night where rats would be running around. And I wasn't going to tolerate that. So I know how to kill a rat or two. I've worked on building sites. and that would be great fun for me in the evening when the rats came out to play. I would go and they'd be screaming, "Oh, you murderer." And I go, "Look, what do you think eats rats? Snakes. If you got rats in the camp, you're going to get snakes. Do you know anything about Australian snakes? They're unpleasant and deadly. You keep the snakes out. There's a method to my madness. I'm not a mass murderer. I'm a survivalist."
Well, they didn't show any of that on the TV anyway. John Lydon killing rats.
No.
It's well edited out. You're a fantastic songwriter, John, and you have a brilliant way with words. So did David Bowie, Paul McCartney, John Lennon, Morrissey, and Noel Gallagher.
I miss Bowie. I do. I think he's one of the bravest men I'll ever say I knew, because he deliberately organised a pauper's grave for himself with no big ceremony. Right? Off he went in an orange box. What a chap. Right? Yeah, no organised fake ceremony, no display of ego. And you would not have expected that from him. You would have expected drag queen nonsense up the wazoo. So, kudos. Right? Love that.
Well, the reason I mentioned those guys...
Of course, to go out kicking and screaming. And on my tombstone is going to be, "He's not here." Or, "Out to lunch."
The reason I mentioned those people is because they all have Irish roots. So do you think there's something in that?
Is that true?
Yeah. Paul McCartney, John Lennon, Morrissey, Noel Gallagher, David Bowie, and yourself.
Oh. Well, there's a lot of us about. There's more out than in.
Yeah, no, I think it's an amazing fact.
Well, that's the way the world works. You have to get up and move about. Cultures shouldn't become static and stale. which they will do if they try and cram themselves into one tiny little space, eventually you just be feeding off your own idea and things end up like Chinese whispers. You need to get out, see the world, share the world. Right? That's how it works. As a species, we can't survive with this nationality stuff. It's not going to work. But by the way, neither will World Trade Order. Right? I'm so not in love with what politicians offer us.
No.
I like variety. World Trade Order is just one big shopping mall where the whole world will become generic. And in a weird way, when I did an album with PIL, using that generic selling idea of album, cassette, cup, T-shirt, CD, I was kind of indicating that that's not the way I wanted everything to be in the future. It's an odd album, that, because we talked about this, everyone on it, to leave our names off. The record company was so angry. It's obviously a bunch of unknowns. It went straight in at number 80 in the American charts, which is quite a phenomenal fucking intro. But the record label pulled it immediately, saying that they didn't trust the musicianship on it, which,
Wasn't Ginger Baker a drummer on that album?
Yes, he found this very amusing. He's not good enough for Atlantic. It's too silly.
Well,
And everybody else in it, Tony Williams, a famous jazz drummer, Richie Sakamoto, Steve Vai. And these weren't my first choice either. My original band were very young lads, but they couldn't adapt to all the rehearsals and pre-production stuff that making a record like that requires. And so I had to quickly replace them. And Mr. Laswell, the producer, got on the phone and rang around and goes, well, maybe these guys can do it.
It's a great album.
If only you could share my smile with the world right now. In the studio at the likes of those lads, I tell you, it helped me no end, because at that point I was at a low in my career mentally. The press had been torturing me for years and put me down as this, that, or the other. And to find out that there were real, true, serious musicians out there that really did respect me and wanted to work with me was exactly the shot in the arm I needed.
And Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers nearly ended up in the band.
Yeah, but they went back together. He turned up for rehearsals, but I think that was mostly really to get to meet each other and have a laugh. And we did. I love Flea.
Yeah, he's great bass
He's one of
player.
the most excellent people in this industry.
Yeah.
It's funny, whenever I do gigs, if they're on the bill, he'll make a point of saying hello. All right? And I don't forget those kind of people. Those are the true legends in it.
I checked on Spotify. Your most popular stream song from PIL is obviously Rise. It's over 20 million streams. Are you surprised that it's so popular?
20 million?
Yeah.
I don't even know what streaming is, except if I've had a curry. I'm awfully old-fashioned that way,
Rise is a great song. It's probably my favourite PIL song. And I only found out recently that it's about the South African and Northern Irish interrogation techniques. I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, there's a good old Gaelic backbeat in there, which I found studying African music. The two were quite similar. There's just little strange elements of culture that separated them, and I found that really to be true now all around the world. I love visiting record stores in foreign lands to see what it is that they actually see in music, what angle of approach. But it's all basically the same concepts. It's all about emotions. How do you view happiness? How do you view sadness? Just being two examples. And so there's Rise. That's a Zulu dance ideology mixed in with a good old shebeen. and a lyric over the top, which is absolutely telling you that torture by any means is not acceptable. And Nelson Mandela was far from innocent in that. And there was a reason he went to jail, and it wasn't apartheid. And that got me banned yet again by the BBC. I'd already been banned because of my comments on Jimmy Savile. And then for that, it's the world we live in, man. People can't face honesty. And if anything I say is wrong, it's always been this way with me, then tell me so and show me how. And I'm more than prepared and willing to learn. But I'm an avid reader and I'm not easily misled.
You made those comments about Savile in, I think, 1978, and the BBC banned you. How did you feel when the news finally came out in 2011, when everybody found out what he had been up to for all those years? How did you feel when you heard that news?
Well, there's a documentary out right now, and I've just seen
It's on Netflix.
Yeah, and there's no mention of me in it anywhere. And I find myself in the preposterous situation of looking for credit on something so shameful. The irony of it. But it's how can you do this? How can you put this together? Is this the voice of the middle class, ignoring what us working class kids had to go through from Mr. Savile and the rest of the BBC? You think you can sweep that under the carpet and claim you lot found him out and did something about it? The fuck out of here. Fucking fake cunts, right? They're the new devils. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Townsend. Good lyric.
What were you hearing then? And where were you hearing it from?
Every kid knew it. Every kid wanted to get into Top of the Pops too, for all kinds of scallywag reasons. There's a bar, access, free drink, you know, a bit of fame. You can wear your Sunday best and do a soppy dance and try to generally fuck about and mess about with it. I'm one of those who couldn't be bothered. But I know a lot, and particularly the prettier boys and the younger girls were the main targets. And they'd have horror stories. And there'd be no access to the media. The media would not deal with it. So it all went untold. And when I accidentally and stupidly was accused of not having family values, that's when I blurted all that out in a direct response to the hypocrisy that is the media telling me I'm a bad person when that kind of filth is going on. Wowzers. Well, it was worth it, you know. I knew if I fired my pea shooter, they'd come back at me with double cannon. And it was worth it every second because it led to good things. It led to this nonsense being brought out.
Yeah, thank God.
Thank God.
The last PIL album released was What the World Needs Now in 2015. It's a great album. My favourite track on the album is the track The One. What can you tell me about that song? It's brilliant.
Oh, I'm so happy you said that. That's my homage to T-Rex. We never got a chance to properly finish it, but live, there's a higher vocal that goes in that I add. Right? It absolutely tears my lungs out, but maybe you're the one. Oh, it goes higher, right? And I do both sets, a vocal in it. It's a fantastic song. I love it. It's oddly enough based on the war going on in Iraq at the time.
Yeah,
there's mentions of what the soldiers have to do, the handful of sand. There's all those references. But you see, this is how I am. Out of great calamity in the world, I can find that string of hope for humanity in it. Yeah, maybe you're the one. All things can be solved, but they start with yourself. Don't expect others to do it for you. You have to make an initial move.
No, it's a great song. Is there any plans to write or record any new PIL material?
Oh, yeah. That's going to be tight on us. because we're going to have to fit it in and around and after the this very short tour. But yes, we've got about 4 songs already lined up. And they're pretty damn surprising, I would think, to most people.
And what sort of themes are you dealing with in those songs?
The trouble is, you see, a couple of years ago, we went into record mode, but this is when Nora was getting really, really ill, and I took her to the recording facility, and she just panicked and couldn't cope. The pressure was on me. I couldn't put any effort into my work because I had to constantly make sure she wasn't fearful, and wrecked that particular recording session. So we're all gagging at the bit to get it back to where it should be. And also, I got to say, at the time, my lyric writing was all very down and despondent because this was like the preliminary stages to her Alzheimer's. And I was wallowing in it from the side of, oh, my God, there's no future for real in this, that this is just painful. And all the experts' information were telling me, do worry, and yes, it will get worse. Well, this is now 3 years later, 4 years later, and it's not worse. In fact, it's better. I found a way to handle it.
That's good.
And that was through comedy. And so if I do write about it, it will be from that angle, just to see her smiling and catching things every now and again is beautiful. It's not her fault that parts of her brain refuse to let her connect sentences together properly, but she's grasping things in there, and that's a torment for me to watch. It's the saddest thing. But I've had friends that have partners and parents and whatever in much worse situations. So, thank God, small mercies. If it's going to come, I think I've got the easier ride on it. It's like, look, if life's grim, make it better,
Well, one thing you did for Nora, which I thought was amazing, was you appeared on the American version of The Masked Singer as the jester. Oh,
God, she loved it. Oh, the smile on her face. She knew straight away. They did a lovely thing. You see, I pre-recorded it. So when I came home, we'd sit down. I had family and friends all around. And I'd given her a pair of gloves that Jester wore. So she put them on. She's very proud of them. Glittery red tartan things. Right? Put the program on, and she just burst out laughing. Johnny's! And it was great. It did exactly what I wanted it to do. And I had the greatest appreciation for that TV show that they allowed me to do that. Right? I had precious little time to get ready. I came straight off the plane, off of an idiot court case in England, straight into that. Hardly any rehearsal. Costume design, they let me pretty much design it myself. It's based on the characters of the last 2 PIL albums. So, the cover. And I'd cracked into it. It was very, very hard to sing in that outfit. I'm telling you, it's impossible. The heat zone. You're fried alive inside this rubber outfit. But I did it for Nora, and I'm very, very proud. And so shows like that, which I normally might have looked down on or, through my nostrils at, I don't anymore. I've got a much more open mind. That was a wonderful... They knew what they were doing. They'd heard. There was someone high up there that had heard the situation I was in and gave me the opportunity. There are good people in this world. Special people. Thank God for them. God, the joy it's given Nora. It's like she's got short-term memory issues, of course, but she puts those gloves on, and she wants to hear the songs again, and so they're there. I'm a man of constant sorrow. Oh, for fuck's sake! But I get more accurate.
No, it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it myself watching it, and you got a really fantastic reception.
Did I?
Yeah, from the Will I Am and
Will I Am. Wow. Yeah. Quite amazing.
It was
quite amazing.
Some of them thought you were Roger Daltrey.
Yes, or Howard Stern, or the singer, Dee Snider of Twisted Sister was thrown in there. And one person actually said Alice Cooper. Oh, come on. It's Johnny. You know my voice anyway.
So far, you've released 10 studio albums with PIL. If you were to recommend one of those albums to someone who had never heard the band before, what album would you choose to start with?
God's sake, you can't. You just can't. The catalogue is so varied and ambidextrous, you know. It can go this way, it can go that way, it can go any way. It's I don't know, just run down YouTube and check out some of the live performances in particular, right? And then you'll grasp some idea of it, and you'll understand that we make records, generally, honestly speaking, in order to perform them live, where we expand on their virtues. There's a huge amount of experimentation that goes on live, and that's the sheer joy of it. I'm with people that don't try to trip me up, and I don't try to lead them astray. We're all in this together, enjoying whatever tangled webs we weave.
You've also collaborated
in the past where I've worked with people that just would do anything to spite you, you know, cut off your vocal line, you know, not deliberately play bad.
or steal the master tips.
Well, that was a very foolish part he played there in his own demise. And then to brag about it, what a fool. Oh, my God. You know, dodgy watch salesman at work there.
You've also collaborated on two fantastic tracks. You collaborated with African Bada on World Destruction in 1984, and my personal favourite was the left field track, Open Up. So how did they come about? Do you enjoy doing that, collaborating with
Well, I also
artists?
worked with an outfit called the Golden Palominos. I've done a few things. I did a few rave tracks there for a while, just, you know, I just wanted something to do. And then, oddly enough, out came someone called Johnny L. It wasn't me, just in case people get it confused, right? Because I like the idea of dancing all night like a mindless idiot. It's fucking great fun.
Who would be your dream collaboration? Who would you really love to do a track with?
Almost pulled it off with Kate Bush. It was her idea.
Wow.
I wrote a song. Yeah, I wrote a song called Bird in Hand, which was about trying to save the parrots from the illegal parrot trade from South America to posh Americans in Florida originally. And she just thought I was insane and never spoke to me since.
And Kate Bush is absolutely amazing. That would be fantastic if you did something.
She is one of the world's greatest originals, right? She created there a perception of notes that had previously been seen as hysterical and non-musical, and she made them something beautiful. Kudos. Same with the Bee Gees, really. So they took the idea of the Beatles' harmonies a step higher and made it into something quite excellent. And here I am going on, because I can mention the Beach Boys too here. I'm not particularly fond of doing that kind of stuff myself, but I'm wide open to people that are very good at it, doing the best they can. My record collection absolutely states that. I've got more records than I had to get the builders in with RSJs in London because the ceiling bowed with the weight, and they described it as a baby elephant.
Out of all the records in your collection, who do you have the most albums by?
Myself, because I don't tend to buy everything by anybody. I buy everything, and I buy the bits I like, and that don't mean I'm going to get their whole catalogue. It's like I'm not that kind of collector. You know, my library is all about personal taste.
Is there any records there that, by a band or artist that people will be surprised you like?
I suppose so. Apparently, over the years, that is exactly the case. I mean, when I did initially Capital Radio, I think it was, asked me to play my favourite records. This is Pistols period, and they were not amused that my collection would be Hawkwind, Todd Rundgren, or Jimmy Green, was it? Just anything, everything. I have a very, very varied taste, and I don't like to limit myself. For me, the joy of music is that people went out of their way and made such a huge effort, both mentally, physically, and financially, to record something that they want to feel proud about. And so why put their head in an executioner's block for being generous with their work? So it's basically I buy everything that I can, but not all of it.
What have you been listening to recently?
One of my favourite albums, for instance, is Eno's Portsmouth Sinfonia. It's totally from start to finish, amateurs in an orchestra setting, all out of tune, but taking on the classics. And it gets there for me. I find more emotion in that than if I was to sit and listen to professional players play those masterpieces. I find it much more enjoyable. I like it when things go slightly out of tune. It gets my brain firing into another area, another emotion. I don't want pop music to be riveted down to these are the standards and you must fit inside them.
Well, you've never done that with PIL.
No. And so there we are, back to how can I recommend PIL to anybody? Well, if you're bored with format, this is the band for you. And if you're bored with floorboards, I've got a farmhouse still in Ireland that's waiting for you.
In retrospect, with the Sex Pistols or Public Image Limited, is there anything you would have done differently? Do you have any regrets?
You can't ever look back on your life and say, oh, I would have done it this way or that. It is what it is in life, and you just have to take it. What I'm glad about is that I had forearmed myself because, getting kicked out of school early, having to go to an approved education facility, I decided then at 15 that I was going to educate myself by hook or by crook. And I took on English language, literature, history, geography, technical drawing and art. These are all the things that I was interested in. And I'm glad I did, because that gave me the tools to deal with the opportunities that came along later. So you never know what's around the corner. Right? And I got to say, my early childhood was plagued with illnesses and all manner of bad things. But they all, in the end, worked out to be in my favour. And that's by sheer persistence. I'm alive. I intend to stay alive. I love life. The end. The end. ... Pending. Be great to get back out and play live, and PIL will understand, hopefully a few new faces, but we've got a very, very, very strong fan base, very loyal, very deeply concerned with us, and the emotions that give and take between band and audience is quite phenomenal. Where you'll observe eye contact. I don't have the audience darkened out. I want to see people and see what they're feeling and share that with them. Mm-hmm. And they're the fifth wheel, should we say, the steering wheel. Right? They'll lead us in when I see people crying because they know I'm dealing with a subject like, say, the Deaf Disco, the death of my mother. They know that they have something similar, and you can feel that communication It's surely what music should be all about, and definitely is with PIL. I wouldn't recommend it to everyone. You know, when you need a chill pill, we're your boys.
And I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait for it. And hopefully there'll be some new music down the line.
I told you, didn't I?
Yeah.
Aren't you listening? Of course there will be. It's God, look, the day I decide to stop making music, I'll let you know. But I feel very far from that at the moment. Gagging at the bit, really, you know.
Well, John, that's my questions finished. I've taken up a lot of your time. It's over an hour.
Okay. Well, may the road right to you and your enemies always be behind you, mate. To catch the flat, the battery shutter.
Nice one. Listen, have a good day, mate.
Hello, Belfast. Hello. Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, have a good day. All right, John?
Yes, come bearing gifts, not guns. Arianism here.
All right, John. Thanks very much.
Peace.
Have a good day, mate.
If you don't like peace, peace off. Good day, sir.